I still remember the cold, biting taste of their words, each one slicing deeper than the last. "That's a foolish dream," my mother said, her voice trembling with disappointment. "You're wasting your time on something so ridiculous. How can you even think you'll succeed?" My father's eyes, usually so proud, narrowed into skeptical slits. "You're embarrassing the family. When will you grow up and face reality?" They mocked me for chasing my passion, music. They said I was naive, that my ambitions were a childish fantasy. They told me I'd never make it, that I'd be nothing but a laughingstock. Their words echoed in my mind as I packed my battered guitar case, feeling the weight of shame crushing my chest. I was just a girl with a dream, and they made me feel like I was crazy for even trying. But deep inside, something ignited, a stubborn flame refusing to die. I clenched my fists and made a vow: "I'll prove you wrong." I might have been mocked and dismissed, but I would not let their opinion define me. I'd chase this dream until the world heard my voice. Leaving home was the hardest thing I've ever done. I moved to a city where nobody knew me, where every street corner seemed to whisper, "You'll fail." I scraped together every penny, took every gig I could find, busking on street corners, playing in smoky dive bars, sleeping on friends' couches. Every note I sang was an act of rebellion against their skepticism, every struggle a testament to my unwavering resolve. The years blurred together in a whirlwind of sweat, tears, and relentless practice. I faced rejection after rejection. The cruelest was hearing crowds boo me off stage, family and friends dismissing my dreams as delusions. But I refused to give up. I kept honing my craft, writing songs from the depths of my soul, pouring everything into each performance. Gradually, the tide began to turn. Small venues started booking me. My online videos gained traction, people connected with my raw honesty, my passion. And then, the breakthrough. A viral video that caught the attention of a major record label. Suddenly, I was no longer just a girl with a dream, I was a rising star. It was surreal. I signed my first record deal, released my debut album, and the world embraced my music. I performed on stages I'd only dreamed of, my voice echoing through arenas filled with thousands of strangers singing every word. Every success felt like a slap in the face to every doubter, including my family. But I knew that my greatest triumph was not just the fame or the awards. It was the journey, every rejection, every tear, every relentless night, shaping me into someone fierce, someone unbreakable. And so, after years of striving, I decided it was time to return home. Not out of pride, but to finally show them what I had become. I knew they wouldn't recognize me at first glance. I had transformed from that timid girl they mocked into a confident woman who owned her truth. The day I arrived back in my small hometown ***, I felt a strange mixture of nerves and anticipation. The familiar streets looked different, more vibrant, more alive now that I was finally here in the flesh. As I pulled up to my parents' house, my heart pounded. I saw them through the window, seated in the living room, chatting casually. I took a deep breath, stepped out of the car, and made my way to the door. When they saw me walk through that door, dressed in elegant clothes, carrying a Grammy-winning album under my arm, their jaws dropped. For a moment, silence reigned. I could feel their eyes scanning me, trying to find the girl they once knew, the girl they had mocked. I held my head high, a silent declaration of everything I had fought for. I was no longer that girl they dismissed. I was proof that dreams, no matter how ridiculous they seem, can come true. Then my mother looked up, her eyes wide with shock and something else I couldn't quite name, and she spoke. I had no idea you're really doing this," I smiled softly, my voice steady but filled with emotion. "Yes, Mom, I did it. I proved everyone wrong, including you." For a long moment, the room was silent. And then my father, who had always been the most skeptical, stood up, slowly approaching me. His hands trembling, he reached out and touched my face as if to confirm I was real, that I had indeed arrived at this moment. "I never thought I'd see the day," he whispered, voice thick with emotion. "You made it out of that little town and into the world, and you did it your way." Tears welled in my eyes. Not because I was angry anymore, but because I finally felt seen, truly understood. Whatever doubts they held, whatever harsh words they'd spoken, I had risen above them. In that quiet, powerful moment I realized something profound. Their rejection, their ridicule had fueled my fire. It was their disbelief that sharpened my resolve. I had transformed pain into purpose, rejection into resilience, mockery into momentum. This wasn't just about music or fame, it was about redemption, my redemption. I had taken their words, twisted in their own fear and misunderstanding, and turned them into the foundation of my success. I turned to my parents and looked them in the eyes. "This is just the beginning," I said softly. "I want you to know your doubts didn't break me, they made me stronger. And now I'm here to show you what's possible when you refuse to give up." And in that moment, I knew I had finally returned home, not just in body, but in spirit. I had faced the darkness they cast, walked through the fire of rejection, and emerged triumphant. I was a living testament that dreams are worth fighting for, no matter how ridiculous they seem. My journey was far from over. But standing there, with my family finally seeing who I truly was, I felt an unbreakable sense of victory. Because I had proved that no matter how many times they told me I'd fail, no matter how cruel their words, they couldn't silence my voice. And now I was here, resilient, radiant, and unstoppable.